so let's do the check on this. What do I mean when I say I want to check and see if this answer is true? You do it the other way. You take the solution, y equals 3, and you plug that in. So I'm going to do the check, and this is what it looks like. I have negative 6, but instead of multiplying it by y, I'm going to multiply it by 3 plus 17 equals 3y, but instead of writing 3y, I'm going to write 3 times 3 minus 10. And notice that when I substitute in for a variable, like when I do my check, I plug in the variable term inside of a parenthesis. So this was actually a y right here, and this was a y right here. You guys follow me? You see what I'm doing? Okay. So let's see. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18 plus 17 equals, and let's see, 3 times 3 is minus 10. Okay. What is negative 18 plus 17? I hope it's negative 1, right? And what is 9 minus 10? So did we get a true statement? Does negative 1 in fact equal negative 1? Then that means we did our check right. We did our equation right. We're good to go. All right, let's do it all again. Okay, walk me through the steps. Kellen, tell me what to do first. Awesome. I am going to subtract 7z from both sides because I want to move it. I want to move the variable over to the left. 8 minus 7 is 1z. So 1z plus 6 equals 4. All right, Miss Kate, what do you want to do next?
Minus the 6.
Yeah, good job. Are we done? Have we solved our equation? Well, 1z is the same thing as z, right? So z equals negative 2. Can we do the check on this one? I'm not going to make you check everything tonight, but I just want to make sure you guys. So let's write out the check. 8, but instead of using a z, I'm going to put a parenthesis c, and what am I putting inside of it? So 8 times negative 2 plus 6 equals 7 parenthesis negative 2 plus 4. 8 times negative 2 is negative 16 plus 6 equals 7 times negative 2 is negative 14 plus 4. I know there's that big black line in between there. I tried like coloring it white. It's not working. So negative 16 plus 6 is negative 10. And negative 14 plus 4 is negative 10. Does negative 10 equal negative 10? Yes, always. Check. We're good. So the check is good, especially when you get some crazy weird answer and you're like, what is going on? Check it, right? You should check it. Okay.
When you check it, does it just give you any whole number?
Any whole number equals another whole number. Yes.
They just have to be the same.
They just have to be the same. Yep. And sometimes, like, sometimes I'm on a test, I will put, what did you get when you did the check? So, like, on number 1, when we did the check, we got negative 1 equals negative 1. On number 2, when we did the check, we got negative 10 equals negative 10. So I might put a question like that on a test, and you would write negative 1 equals negative 1. Or instead of writing, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know what physically ended up when you did the check. Okay, so Amira, tell me what you want to do first. Good job. Subtract 4p from both sides. So 10 minus 4 is 6. So I have 6p plus 2 equals 1. All right, Miss Naya, what would you like to do next? Good job. Subtract the 2. You guys are doing awesome. 6p equals, let's see, 1 minus 2 is -1. Now, I don't know why, but typically when we get to this point right here, you guys stop doing math and you just write that p equals -6. You do just crazy stuff. Right here, you're like, oh, I'm done. P equals -6, moving right on. But really, what do I have to do to both sides? Divide by. Okay. And the last time I checked, -6 and -1/6 are not the same. Is that true? Correct. -1/6 is some repeating decimal that like goes on forever. I want you to make sure you leave that as a fraction. But your brain sometimes just looks at it and you're like, oh, 1 divided by 6 is 6. Done. Moving on. Okay, so watch for that. I think some of you guys goobered that on your test. Your quiz, I should say, from Friday. Okay, this one has fractions in it. Yuck. So, can I teach you guys a trick? Knowledge is power. Do you like fractions? No. Okay. So I'm going to write a little note here that says to remove fractions, you multiply every, I'm writing that really big, every term by the common, God bless you, denominator. So the reason this could sometimes be hard is you have to think, between the two denominators, 3 and 9, which one do they both divide? 9 does not go into 3 nicely. 9 is divisible by 3, but 3 is not divisible by 9. So I don't want to multiply by 3. But are they both divisible by, does 3 go into 9 and 9 go into 9? Yes, okay. So here's the trick. If you can't recognize the least common multiple, the other thing you can do is just multiply these two together. What is 3 times 9? 27. So you could multiply everything by 27, or you can multiply everything by 9. We're going to multiply by 9 because it's the smallest, and I want to show you what happens, okay? And then I'll do it the other way, dealing with the fractions. But you guys had a fraction question on your quiz, and we struggled with that. So over here, I'm going to rewrite the problem. 3 minus 2/9 b equals 1/3 b minus 7. And I am going to multiply every single thing by 9. So, and I'm going to draw arrows. So 9 times 3 is what? 27. What happens when I take 9 and I multiply it by a -2/9? Well, the 9s do what? They cancel each other out. And -2/1 is the same thing as -2. And it has a b attached to it. Are you with me? Now I'm going to multiply the 9 by 1/3. 3 will go into itself one time. 3 will go into 9 how many times? 3. So 3 times 1 is 3b. You could also think of it as what is 1/3 of 9, or 9 divided by 3. And then the last one is, dang it, sorry. My b was smushed right up there. 9 times 7 is 63, and it's negative. So I multiplied every single thing by 9. Another thing that you can do in your calculator, because some of you guys are just struggling with using your calculator, you can write in your calculator, you can do 9 times fraction 2 divided by 9. That's how you show, you have to put it in a parenthesis. But when you use the divide button, like when you actually use the division button, it presents it as a fraction, right? It shows it as a fraction. But if you don't group it like this, you'll get something crazy. So this says 9 times 2/9. 9 times parenthesis 1 divided by 3, which looks like this. And it'll tell you that that is 3. And this is 2. So you can use your calculator to do that math. All right? For those of you that struggle with it, I want you to know that you can do that in your calculator. Okay? So now let's just go ahead and combine like terms and move all the variables to the left and all the constants to the right. So what happens? Well, if I subtract 3b from both sides, I get 27 minus 5b equals negative 63. If I subtract 27 from both sides, I have negative 5b equals 60, 70, 80, negative 90. Divide both sides by a negative 5. B equals 18. B equals 18. I'm going to work it out just for those of you that want to see the fractions. You doing okay? I'm going to work it out for those of you that just want to see the fractions, because some of you guys did really well with the fractions. Some of you guys feel really comfortable with fractions, and I'm good with that. So with the fractions, I would subtract 1/3 b from both sides. Thank you so much, sir. I will get that. That would be awesome if you would. I have to have a common denominator. So I have to multiply this by 3. Do you guys remember doing that? So this really is negative 2/9 minus 3/9. That's what that becomes. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 3. So this gives me negative 5/9 b plus 3 equals negative 7. I just took this and I moved it here so you could see the math operation. Now I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Negative 5/9 b equals negative 10. And how do I get rid of a fraction coefficient? Multiply by the reciprocal. These cancel out. B equals, let's see, 9 times 10 is 90. This is over 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Oh, 90 over 5. Isn't that what we got last time? We got a negative 90 over a negative 5, which is still a positive, which means that B equals 18. So you need to decide if you like working with fractions or if you don't. Okay? But if you're going to multiply by the common denominator to get rid of the fractions and you don't know how to multiply fractions, use a calculator. Okay? Because otherwise you're going to make mistakes. All right, moving on. You guys with me? With me, not with me? Okay. All right. We're going to talk about some geometric terms because I want to start doing word problems with you that involve things like perimeter. And I can't do that unless I know that you know what perimeter means. So the first thing I'm going to do is start off with a square. What do you know about a square? All 4 sides are the same. All 4 sides have, I'm going to put have. Sometimes the eraser works and sometimes it just keeps scribbling more. Have the same length. All 4 sides have the same length. Okay. So that means that this side right here has to be the same as this side. The same as means what? Equal to. So how could you find the value of x? Amira, go to the restroom. How could you find the value of x? How could you find it? Well, isn't this side the same as this side? Right? Their measures are the same. So what does that mean? Yeah, but I'm looking at both sides. How do I figure out what x is? What do I have to do with those two sides? If those sides are the same, that means their measures are equal. So can't I say that 4x minus 2 equals 2x plus 8? Do you guys see how we did that? Because the sides are the same, and one side is represented by the expression 2x plus 8, and the other side is represented by the expression 4x minus 2, right? So can we solve it? How do you want to do that? Okay. I don't want to subtract the 8 yet. I'm going to subtract out the 2x. So 2x minus 2 equals 8. Aiden, what do you want to do next?
Divide it by 2.
How about if I add 2? Good job. Add 2 to both sides. So 2x equals 10, and then we'll divide by 2, and I find out that x equals 5. But the question doesn't necessarily say what does x equal. What does that question on the bottom say?
What is the side length of the square?
Yeah, what is the measure of one of the sides? How do I figure that out? Yeah, so how do I figure out one of the side lengths? I don't want to know all of them. I just need to know one of them, Gavin. Yeah, take this expression and do 2 times whatever x is, which is 5, plus 8. Let's see, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 8 is 18. What if I wanted to use the other expression? Could I use the other expression? Well, let's check. 4 times 5 is 4 times 5 is minus 2 is, oh my gosh, it works, right? So what is the side length of the square? 18. We don't know if it's inches, meters, whatever, so we're going to say 18 units. So we were able to solve that because Kane told us that all of the sides of a square are the same. So, Eli, what do you know about a rectangle? Yeah. What were you going to say, Tessa?
Isn't it for like opposite sides are the same length?
Yeah, opposite. That's awesome. That's exactly how I would have said that. Opposite sides are equal, meaning they have the same length. Okay. So if I had to solve for x, what could I do? Tell me what two sides are opposite of each other, Tessa.
4x subtract 1 and then 2x plus 17.
Is 4x minus 1 opposite 2x 17, or is it adjacent? Adjacent means right next to.
Adjacent.
It's adjacent. I need them to be opposite. What two sides are opposite each other? Meaning across from each other. Go ahead. Go again.
2x plus 17 and 6x plus 9.
Yeah. So if their opposite sides are equal, that means that 2x plus 17 has to equal 6x plus 9. Do you guys see how that 4x wouldn't work for us? The 4x minus 1 would not help us because we don't know its opposite side. Okay, so let's solve for x. Abigail, what do you want to do first? Subtract 6x. I love that. From both sides. Negative 4x plus 17 equals 9. Brody, what do you want to do next?
Minus 17.
Yeah, I love that. Minus 17 from both sides. Awesome. So negative 4x equals negative 8. Last step, Danae, what do you want to do to get x all by itself? Divide. Yeah, good job. Divide both sides by negative 4. So x equals, let's see, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 8 divided by 4 is 2. X equals 2. Okay, but what is that question down there asking us?
What's the area of the rectangle?
How do I find the area of a rectangle? That's perimeter. Perimeter is all the way around the outside. Area is,
The inside?
yeah, the length times the width. So do we know what the length is? Could we figure it out? If this was the length and this was the width, could we use this and figure out what those measures are? Yeah? What do you want to do, Tessa? I don't know where that came from. Oh, can someone make that go away? Yeah, but I don't see it. I gotta get. There you go. Thank you. Got it. It's gone. Okay, so what if I let x equal 2? This gives me 4 times 2 minus 1. What is 4 times 2 minus 1? 7. So my width equals 7. Let's find my length. Naya, what am I going to do to find my length? Okay. So to find the length, I'm going to take 6 times 2. Good job. Plus 9. And what is 6 times 2? Plus 9. Anyone? 21, I think. Okay, so if I wanted to find the area, I would have to take my length, which is 21, times my width, which is 7. Calculator bunny, 21 times 7 is 147 square units. Okay. So this is definitely one of those higher level thinking questions. I would put a star by it. I put a star by this in my notes because this is probably a question that Mrs. Bischoff would ask you on a test. So I think this is a great question. This or the perimeter, right? Because I didn't tell you anything about like what the perimeter was. You had to solve for x to find the area, or you would have to solve for x to add them all the way up, all around the outside for a perimeter. Okay? So let's just calculate the perimeter of this one really fast, just to make sure everybody knows how to do perimeter. So perimeter is all the way around the outside. And Tessa told us that opposite sides are equal. So if this length is 21, that means this is also 21. And if the width right here is 7, that means this is also 7. So let's talk about perimeter really fast. That means the perimeter equals 2 times the length. This is the formula. I'll turn that into an L so you know it's plus 2 times the width, or we could just add them all up. 7 plus 21 plus 7 plus 21. Any of those are going to give you the right answer. So the perimeter is 56 units. I'm going to put a star by this, and I'm just going to write good question, because this is the type of question that I would put on a quiz for sure. Okay. Okay. Our last question for our notes today says 9 fewer than half of a number is 5 more than 4 times the number. It says define a variable, write an equation, and solve. So what variable do you guys want to use to represent the number?
In.
Okay, so let n equal the number. You can use x if you want. So how do I show 9 fewer than half a number? 9 fewer is the same thing as 9 less than half a number. 9 fewer than is the same thing as 9 less than. There's something special about it. It is minus, but there's something special about it. Less than and fewer than makes me do what?
Oh,
That would be the difference of. Change the order. It makes me change the order. So half of a number minus 9 is how I show 9 fewer than half of a number. Okay? Remember less than, fewer than, that's the weird change the order, okay? What is the word is referring to in terms of our little, equals, thank you. Now I'm right here, 5 more than 4 times the number. 5 more than 4 times the number. How do I show that? Well, what does more than mean? Nope, that would be is more than. If you have 5 more pieces of candy than I do, and I have 2, how many do you have? So what did you do? Add 5 more than 4 times our number. So this is our equation. I'm going to put it in a box because we have defined our variable and we've written an equation. So now I'm going to solve that equation. Let's see. 1/2 n minus 9 equals 5 plus 4n. What do you want to do first to solve it? Do you want to get rid of the fraction?
yes.
Yes, I do too. Let's get rid of the fraction. What is the denominator? That means that we have to multiply every stinking term. Every single number in that equation gets multiplied by 2. So I put a 2 on both sides, like outside of my little box, and I'm going to draw some arrows. So what is 2 times 1/2? Or what is half of 2? 1. And what is 2 times negative 9?
18.
Negative 18 equals, what is 2 times 5?
10.
And what is 2 times 4?
8.
That looks so much better. No fractions. I love it. It's going to be awesome. So let's do this. Okay, so I am going to subtract 8n from both sides. 1 minus 8 is negative 7. So I have negative 7n minus 18 equals 10. I'm going to add 18 to both sides. Negative 7n equals 28. Last step, I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 7. And I think n equals negative 4. So the number is negative 4. What are your thoughts? It's math. I'm going to try to, every time we have a fraction, multiply to get rid of the fraction. I think that's good practice for you guys, okay? We'll just keep practicing it over and over again. So that way fractions aren't so intimidating. So I'm going to go back to Canvas, and I'm going to put on my glasses so I can see what the heck I'm doing. So let's see. This is not you. This is a different class. Okay. So multiply we did multi-step equations with variables on both sides. So that's done. And next we have a quizzes and a homework. But quizzes, like a quizzes activity. I think there are 8 questions in the quizzes. I just made it last night. 8 questions in the quizzes. It's multiple choice. But I want to talk about this exit card. It says solve the equation for an accuracy grade. At least 2 times a week, I'm going to give you an exit card. It doesn't open until, I don't even remember what time I set it to. I'll look. But you're going to do it in class, like before you leave. I want you to do that because I want to see what your brain is thinking on